Hello, buddy. This is Purge. Bring you guys another replay commentary. That's right. One per week is our new record, and that's what we're aiming to hit. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. Not really planning to do replay commentaries forced or anything like that. But like I said last time I made one, I think I did at least. Maybe it was on stream. I've been playing a lot more Dota off of stream than I have before. Really enjoying the patch, so that's why we got replay commentaries coming. Okay, I'm really excited about this one because Death Prophet is a hero that I'm a big fan of, and she fits my playstyle pretty well, and I think I have solved her itemization issues. For a very long time, Death Prophets, I'm playing with Merlini, Cap, Lyrical, and a fifth guy that I didn't know, Perry. But maybe it's, I don't know. Anyways, basically Death Prophet has been in kind of a weird itemization place for a long time. There's a period of time, like a year or two ago, where Death Prophet was really effective as a hero because she would go things like Yule's and Medallion, and it would give her mana regen, movement speed, a TP cancel, and also she could use it to defend herself from disables or roots or soft disables like that, and to dispel herself, which is generally pretty effective towards her hero. It's a bro move by Cap here to dispel that so that I go to lane with full HP. But the problem is that with Death Prophet's changes in the patch, I don't think that build is as good as it used to be. So here's what they changed about Death Prophet. Before, her best skill was easily Spirit Siphon. It would sap damage, it would deal damage to your opponents, it would slow them, and it would deal max HP, their max HP as damage to them, and any damage I deal to them gets healed to me. So basically, it was a skill that allowed you to stay in melee range to your opponents and become extremely tanky, and be able to use that to just stay alive, basically, in terms of trading. This felt bad. I think he owned me on the first creep wave or so, but after that I went okay. So that's basically what Spirit Siphon does. It enhances your, basically allows you to like stay in melee range of opponents, and no matter what, they'll lose to trade you, because Spirit Siphon, you're very rarely going to out damage somebody using Spirit Siphon. It's one of the best trading abilities. They removed the slow component of that, and that's all they changed on Spirit Siphon. So it for sure became a worse ability, with undeniably worse ability. But to compensate for that, they increased Death Prophet's base movement speed. You'll notice I'm running at 335 movement speed, which is really fast. That is really, really fast for a base movement speed hero. The other thing is that they added a movement speed bonus to Exorcism. So when you use your ultimate, you're naturally faster anyways, so it becomes easier to run people down. And when you're playing Death Prophet, the whole goal basically is to stand really close to people, because what it accomplishes is when the spirit, basically for the spirits to deal damage, they have to fly out, hit the person, and then it has to fly back to you again before it attacks again. So if you're really close to the person, then the spirits can more rapidly hit the person, come back, hit the person, come back. So basically high movement speed is really important on Death Prophet, because it genuinely, it just makes your lane effectiveness, or your DPS a lot higher, right? So before, you would stay close to people by using Spirit Siphon. You would slow them down and ensure that you were close to them, and therefore it was viable for you to stay close to them, because you're slowing them with Spirit Siphon, and you end up doing a lot of damage. But now that that's removed, this is why I think the itemization needs to be different. And this is why Yule's is no longer a very good item on her, in my opinion. Number one, it's pretty expensive. It doesn't give you any survivability, other than the fact that you can cyclone yourself. So no HP, no resistance, nothing like that. It gives you mana regen, which is good, and it gives you movement speed. And right now, movement speed is actually not that important on Death Prophet. It might sound a little weird for me to say that, but because of the fact that you're really fast normally, and you get fast with Exorcism, you don't actually need movement speed that badly. I messed up that last hit. I was really sad about that one. I accidentally clicked a second time on something weird. You don't need movement speed that badly. Like, Spirit Siphon should not generally be maxed out anymore unless you're like leaning against a melee hero. I think Crypt Swarm is better now in Death Prophet's current situation. Because of the fact that you're naturally faster, you can spam more Crypt Swarms and things like that. So, with all that said, here is, I think, her new perfect item. It's Bloodstone, in my opinion. I've been trying to force Bloodstone on Death Prophet for a while, like at least a year or two. I thought, because I remembered in Dota 1 times where you would go Bloodstone, Death Prophet, and it was really good. You have so much mana, you could spam Crypt Swarm all the time. You just never had to worry about stuff. This is a fun little trade here with my sniper opponent. Just wanted to get some good Spirit Siphon damage in. He is beating my own last hits. He shouldn't be. I was really happy I hit him. I broke his salve there. But He should not be beating me in last hits because I actually have like 10 more damage than he does. But he's done a nice job with Shrapnel to make it harder for me to get the creep wave. I knew I was going to miss like all 3 of these. I got the 3rd one luckily. And I'm lasting a little bit poorly compared to him. I don't know what his MMR is. We're at a 5 stack. We probably had more MMR than they did, was my assumption. I'm pushing the wave now because I have Bottle and because runes are spawning. I should have done this earlier. So the fact that, and also I should have ran for this immediately. That was a big mistake here. Not going for this. But luckily because I have this ward, I can start this earlier. And I was barely able to kill him. That was really close. If I didn't have 3 points in Crypt Swarm, I don't think I kill him there. If that was 3 points in Spirit Siphon instead, I don't think I get him. So, normal items so far, basically. No talismans. Most pros and are buying... They're finishing their first stat item, and then they're getting Bottle, which is something that helps me a lot, because I have trouble getting both stat items before getting a Bottle, so it's a little bit safer for me to secure it. Getting that first rune, or having Bottle available for the first rune. What I'm doing right now is I'm waiting to see if... I'm waiting for Sniper to TP back in so that I can ulti kill him, because I'm pretty sure that with ulti and Spirit Siphon I can kill him, because he just doesn't beat me in a DPS contest, right? He's got Shrapnel, and that is about it. So, because he hasn't come back yet, what I'm doing is going back to laning as normal. I've also got my boots coming. I could also go get the bounty rune over here to refill my mana pool. And I should redo my my observer ward. I saw his ward die, which was kind of nice. Oh man, I have a huge level advantage over him. I just now realized. I maybe could have ran at him right here, but my boots weren't quite here. And I kind of wanted to run in here, but it would have been pretty YOLO under tower. I might have been able to kill him in time, but there's a good chance I die. And if he shows here, I'm going to dive. But the fact that he hasn't showed yet is just going to make me be a little passive. Got my boots now. Unfortunately, I messed up the courier stuff too, so... Didn't have my boots quite ready. Looks like based on watching the replay map hacks, he is doing the small camp, which is pretty safe. Because it's very common for Dire side to dive from the right side. Oh, I haven't talked about Bloodstone at all. Okay. The reason that Bloodstone is the item on Death Prophet is because it once again actually like fits what our hero really needs. Like before, the problem with Bloodstone was that it wouldn't give me movement speed or utility. And that would mean that I just didn't feel very effective as a hero. And that's, so because it didn't give me movement speed or utility, yes, I could farm faster, but it took a lot of items, a lot of gold to get it, and generally, like, Clarity Potions with Yule Scepter was enough mana regen to justify this. I fucked up not going for a rune here at the 6-minute mark. This is bad. And again, I should have brought myself an Observer Ward almost certainly. Attacked that one a little early here. Nuked that to make sure that I got that melee creep before it got denied. I knew I'd get the range creep with that. So now we're going to kind of get into this pattern where I jungle and he jungles. We're both going to push out waves with our nukes. And this is fine. It doesn't really bother me to do this because with the right items, I will still farm kind of fast. I didn't run a Crypt Swarm again here, even though I really wanted to because I knew it was going to take me a while. But should have brought more clarities with this. I think I canceled my courier halfway through. Always deny the range creep if you can against a sniper. Did the same thing here. But what he's basically doing is shrapneling the wave and then walking away so that he can... ooh, I really should have had that one. So that he can then go do the small camp and overall accelerate his farm a little bit better. I sent that courier back to buy some clarities, which is going to help me refill my mana. Now I'm going to do the small camp because that's what you should do. Kill the mid wave if you have AoE, then go do a small camp to accelerate your farm a little bit. Unfortunately, you have to use nukes to do the small camp typically. I was really pleased to have this because I could dip into the river really quick and get some mana back, which is kind of nice. But unfortunately, he pushed the wave already, so now I got to go back. But either way, like despite I did solo kill him or whatever, but he's now farming decently fast. Like his net worth is actually significantly behind mine, probably because his last hits are mostly small camps, I would guess. I'm also gonna send my courier to go get Arcane Boots. So this is what's cool about going Bloodstone. You can go Arcane Boots first because obviously you disassemble it and then you disassemble into your Bloodstone later, and it's obviously going to accelerate what you get out of the map. Should have checked better for a rune here. I went to jungle the small camp right away, but I should have checked to see if that was there. So here's the Arcane Boots. Arcane Boots, 2 Null Talismans. I'm just dropping these briefly to get a little bit more mana. I still didn't check the rune, which was very bad. And there's the rune again that I just saw, I'm pretty sure. Don't necessarily need to be in the wave this much, but really nice to have Royal Jelly as well. Now I'm running through the river again, and then I'm like, oh shit, there's a rune here. Sick. I'm very good at mid. Then I decided to go gank mid, bottom, sorry. Part of the problem with like doing this like back and forth pattern is that usually your opponent gets about as much out of the lane as you do. But me ganking the side lane is pretty effective, especially because this guy's only level 5. They've clearly denied some stuff. I'm going to use my ulti here to get some chase going. Then he looks very dead. He also wasn't 6 yet, so it made this gank super easy. And then I'm going to use my regen here, and then use my bottle to heal these guys up so that their lane can go a little bit better. And then since I just used my ulti, I also want to pressure the tower with it, which should be pretty simple here. So basically we lose almost nothing. I'm able to kill the hard carry, and to support, I'm going to go push out the next wave because I've got an abundance of mana and my ulti's still going, and I can do it pretty quick. And then now I'm going to go return to where I was. So in my opinion, this should be your early itemization. I probably should have bought a wand this game for sure as well, but generally I kind of ignored it. I'm going to send this back because I know PA is going to want that. Any right-click carry is always going to want Possess Mask. But yeah, probably should have a wand. Wand is like, on anybody that's tanky, wand is really, really effective. But I just skipped it this game and I didn't notice, and I probably should not have. But back to the mid lane to resume laning. The next item I bought was Point Booster, and that's because I want to increase my tankiness. Just standing in the river because I get more mana regen. So nice to have Royal Jelly and this. And the rune was coming too, so now I have this. I was going to go play bottom maybe with the haste rune, but I want to nuke this because it usually takes the tower a long time to kill skeletons. So at least nuking it once I thought was going to be pretty useful. And now I get magic resistance at 10. Some people might, like there's going to be some games maybe where I consider getting silence here instead of my level 10 talent. But considering that they have a Nyx, who's a lot of magic damage, Sniper is a lot of magic damage, Ogre's a lot of magic damage, they basically just have a lot of magic damage, so getting 12% magic resistance here is pretty necessary. The 30 damage talent has about the same win rate, typically, but when you go Bloodstone, I'm increasing my survivability a lot, and therefore I want to also have even more survivability to stack with that. I could maybe haste down here and fight, but I don't have my ulti yet, so I was leaning against it, especially because it looks like a 4v1, so I just kind of went and go hit creeps here. Also, the next item I bought was Voodoo Mask. I didn't want to... Well, I could have bought Vit Booster here, maybe. I think I did this bad, by the way. I should have used Haste. Ran down, killed the Ogre. Is what I should have done. But what I wanted to do is wait until my ulti was up so that I could have, like, crazy good movement speed. Although, because this gives you movement speed now, it's a little bit less good than it used to be. He put a shield on the Ogre. That's why he was tankier. But, yeah, Ogre TP'd away, which is fine. Wanted to keep YOLOing this since I had the haste. Unfortunately, the haste ran out here. Unfortunately, that didn't quite go far enough. So, it was a good try, but it didn't work out. But yeah, I bought Voodoo Mask right away. And this is basically why Bloodstone is good. I just need to pause a little bit and talk about Bloodstone, I'm sorry. Alright, the reason Bloodstone is good is because it gives you everything you need. It's really expensive at 6,000 gold, but it gives you raw health, which is important. It gives you mana and intelligence, which is great. It increases your mana regen a buttload, which means you can spam Crypt Swarm all the time. And the big change to Bloodstone is that it now has spell Lifesteal. That wasn't in Bloodstone before. It wasn't, it used to be in, what, Octarine Core? God, I don't even remember. A long time ago, it was an Octarine Core spell Lifesteal when it gave you cooldown and spell Lifesteal. They removed that. Voodoo Mask, I don't remember what it built into before. Really don't remember. But in the last patch. Can't remember. Was it Octarine? I don't remember. Anyways, Spell Lifesteal's in Bloodstone now, and Spell Lifesteal on Death Prophet has always been really good. In the entire history of Death Prophet, it's always been one of the nicest things you could get, but it's not really something you'd ever build often. The reason is because to get it in the past, when Death Prophet was good, is you'd have to build Octarine Core when it had Spell Lifesteal and cooldown, which are both things that Death Prophet really liked. Cooldown reduction would make her ulti off cooldown more often, so she could use it. And Spell Lifesteal was great because Spirit Siphon already gives you 100% lifesteal from whatever you damage people with. So if you have 25% lifesteal, spell lifesteal on top of that, then you're getting 125% of the damage that you deal with Spirit Siphon. It's really good, right? And then when I use Crypt Swarm, I'm getting 25% lifesteal from that. And also, Exorcism. It technically, it does physical damage, but it counts as a spell type damage. So whenever your ghosts hit somebody and deal a little bit of damage, you deal 61 damage, you'll get a little bit of lifesteal from that as well. So spell lifesteal on Death Prophet is really good. And this is kind of what solves her problems. Like, again, before, she had movement speed issues that you'd have to solve with like haste runes or boots of travels and Yule scepters and things like that. But you don't have movement speed problems. The issue now is that Spirit Siphon doesn't slow people, and therefore it's a little bit harder to get like full duration Spirit Siphons off on people because you can't keep them near you anymore. Now they're just going to run away most of the time. So you have to think less of Death Prophet as a Spirit Siphon type hero and more of like a, she's got all of this stuff, you know? It's like she is not just like Spirit Siphon and using Exorcism to kill towers and Roche. She is like, I'm going to run at you and be difficult to kill, because if they try to commit, then Spirit Siphon is going to stay on people for full duration. But you can't just like run people down with Spirit Siphon anymore like you used to be able to. So like look at my max movement speed right now. I'm at 440, and that is with basically just Exorcism being active. And when this runs out, oh, this is kind of cool actually. It's kind of abusable. If these stay on the map, then I keep movement speed. That's kind of cool. So it gives you movement speed, right? And the buff stays active until all of your spirits are back to you. So that means if you don't let the last spirit come back to you, if you need to delay it, then you get bonus movement speed. So yeah, when I use my ulti, my movement speed is 440. Why do I need to spend money on an item that's going to increase my movement speed? I don't really need to do that anymore. When I use Exorcism, my movement speed is going to be really fast. So the point being, like, Bloodstone gives you the perfect stuff. It gives you tons of mana regen so you can farm and stay competitive with other comparable mid heroes. It gives you spell lifesteal, which when people commit to killing you, it's going to be a lot harder for them to do so because now you're getting extra heal from Spirit Siphon and from Crypt Swarm and from your ulti. So all of this makes you just naturally are faster, and you are going to be able to stay alive better. Like, you could potentially just buy Voodoo Mask, maybe. And maybe this build isn't as ideal because I have less counterplay. Like, I've got a Omni on my team who's going to help keep me alive, right? So if I am able to... Maybe there's a better item build that would help play against something like an Earth Spirit running in and silencing me or something like that. Or people using Chain Disables on me and I need to dodge that crucial like couple seconds of damage. At really high levels of Dota, this Bloodstone build might not be viable because the margins are smaller and the time that people try to kill you is so much shorter, and it needs to be shorter, that Yules will oftentimes save your life. And in which case Bloodstone might not save you, because what if they jump on you with a Riki, silence you, slow you, you can't cast Spirit Siphon. Yules could save you, you know? Bloodstone would not in that circumstance. But that's the other thing. You can just activate the damn Bloodstone. You can use the Blood Pact. You lose 30% of your max mana, and you get health. So it's literally the perfect item right now in so many different ways. It increases your survivability for spell lifesteal. It gives you tons of mana, which helps you farm. And I can use the active to also give me burst heal. It's like the perfect like tank item for like Leshrac and Death Prophet type heroes. It is like the perfect item right now, which makes me want to play Leshrac now. Because this item does almost everything. Like, there's literally nothing bad about it other than the fact that it's expensive right now. It gives you 8% spell up, which is fine. Like, you're doing spell damage anyways. Like, I genuinely think Bloodstone is like the perfect item on this hero. So things I could have done differently, maybe buy Vit Booster instead of the Voodoo Mask might have been better. Because I'm finishing my Soul Booster and I don't want to drop any items, I am disassembling my Arcane Boots here. But generally this would be seen as like a little bit of a bad idea. Checking the range on my Silence here. Ooh, I missed the Death Prophet, or the Nyx here. Anyways, rotate over to the fight. Those two guys are not very high MMR, the Nyx and the Ogre, so it's not like incredible that we successfully dope or anything, but... That was my last Spirit Siphon, but I will continue to spam these guys, of course. Give Cap a little bottle here in this moment. And continue to spam the coil, or Crypt Swarm whenever possible. The reason I'm buying the Kyle last, you might be curious about this, but the reason is because I thought about diving here, but we're all a little bit low on mana, me included. I could like ulti and use like 1 or 2 spells tops. But I don't want to buy Kaya early because it's the weakest part of the item for me. I don't need the int really. I don't really need the spell amp, even though it's good. I don't need the mana regen amplification because I don't have any mana regen yet. I'm only got 6 mana per second. It's not very high, so I don't want to spend 2,000 gold of my early money on Kaya. It is far more important that I'm increasing my raw HP with Soul Booster type items first. Like, the point booster and the vid booster are really important because Death Prophet is burstable if she doesn't buy the right items and if she's chain disabled. If they initiate on me with like a Nyx stun and then Wraith King's on top of me and Ogre multicast me and I die before I even cast one Spirit Siphon, that's a really big deal, obviously. Unfortunately, I ran out of mana here and I couldn't quite see. I can see it on the replay, but I wasn't quite sure where my Spirit Siphon was. It wasn't as clear to me. Ooh, I did not. I guess he must have been dying or something is why he came out. Happy to damage these guys. Wanted to silence him again, of course. Problem here though is I should really close the shop, sorry. Pretty slowed by these guys. And getting closer to Bloodstone, but like the important thing is that I'm not afraid to fight because I have lots of raw HP, I have lots of mana pool, and I've got a little bit of magic resistance as well. And Death Prophet's armor at this point is not bad. 7.4 armor is manageable at this stage of the game. Dropped the soul booster while I bottled so that I could get a little bit more mana out of my spells. Or out of my bottle, which wouldn't have been possible otherwise. I think this guy doesn't have... yeah, he did not have his ulti because we broke it in the mid lane. Kill was very big. And once I finish my Bloodstone, the party really starts, basically. Not that I'm not having a good time already. Silence him so that he can't do anything after he comes back. And now I've got my Bloodstone. Very pleased about this. Okay. Like I said, least important item is definitely the Kaya. But obviously you need to complete the Bloodstone. Once the Bloodstone is complete, you get a buttload of mana regen just from having Bloodstone. Don't want to pressure too hard without my ulti. Now that this is finished, look at all these beautiful items that I have. Alright. Again, still don't have a wand, which is probably bad. But boy, am I ready to dive. I just need to wait for my ulti and then I'm going in, pretty much. Yeah, I felt like they had a ward here because they looked like they were positioning for me. As much as I wanted to dive here. Figured this is good enough reason to go in. To be a little careful about the Wraith King, but not too bad. Got 2 Spirit Siphons going. Slow, a little too powerful, unfortunately. I don't know why this guy ran in, that was weird. Glimpse is huge here, actually. Really helped make up for the fact that I didn't have a disable. Like, the problem is that even if I do Yules, though, it doesn't really buy you enough time. Because it's not like Spirit Siphon's going to slow, it's just a Yules, so it changes your positioning. I just feel like the Yules build just doesn't feel good anymore. See how my movement speed's still really high, even though the Spirits are coming back in? That's what I'm talking about. Here's another big change to the hero, is that the level 15 talent, I think the cast range talent is bad now. It's not good anymore. It used to almost always get the cast range one, but now I think the priorities are a bit different. And that's because, again, cast range is really effective on Spirit Siphon because it would slow people. It would prevent them from running away and would make sure that even if they are trying to get away, that you can better catch up and make sure that you get the full Spirit Siphon duration. That isn't important anymore because it doesn't slow. Because it doesn't slow, it really has just changed the hero priorities a little bit. And I think it's just taking time for people to understand the value of the hero as a result, pretty much. So I went for a max health Spirit Siphon. That's partially because I already have a lot of spell lifesteal. And that, again, I'm just aiming to be really tanky and have lots of mana regen. So making my Spirit Siphons suck more HP away from them and therefore give it to me is really beneficial. It lasts for 6 seconds. So having 0.8 more means we're doing... What's 8 times 6? That's probably the easier. It's like 48. So it's like 5% more health, basically, is going to be drained away from my opponents than would otherwise. So It's pretty valuable, especially when that's being amplified by an extra 20% from the Bloodstone. I know you guys might say, hey, it only gives you 15% spell lifesteal, but Kaya also gives you spell lifesteal amplification. So 30% of 15 is approximately 5. So it's really giving you about 20% spell lifesteal, not 15. Keep that in mind. So tank the tower just a little bit because I could, and we wanted to get some more tower, some more damage in. Nethershell would have been pretty sick on me this game, I think. The extra spell damage and magic resistance would have been great. Just want to silence him to make sure that he can't get away here. He did get our courier, but it's okay. Maybe we can dive him, I guess. That's probably not the bad. Glimpse is so effective this game, honestly. Because we had advantages and we were spotting heroes, it let us force a lot of fights on people that were trying to run away. I've got Exorcism here, but I'm a little antsy to use it. And next I'm going Boots of Travel because I want to increase my base movement speed just to further make chasing and escaping easier and to make it so I can move around the map more. But I also wanted to bring a cloak first. At this phase in the game, I was a little bit vulnerable to magic damage. I think I was taking about 60% magic damage at this phase. So I wanted to make sure that I had a little bit extra with the cloak. It's nice to get a little bit of spell lifesteal just from killing creeps, I gotta say. It does help out quite a bit. And there we go. Boots of Travel. Now I'm at max movement speed when I use my ulti, which is pretty crazy. Used to have to get a talent for that, but I shouldn't have silenced him there because it revealed that I had a ward, but I wanted to do it because I felt cheeky and very ahead in terms of net worth. So it's pretty incredible actually with Curse of Avernus. 60% is a lot. Arcane Rune is amazing on Death Prophet. Kind of looks like we're fighting. I was starting to run and I was like, oh, I can just teleport. So example where having Eagles would have been amazing, obviously. There's a couple times that people TP'd away from me, but ultimately I think it's worthwhile to still have the Bloodstone. So again, maybe these guys aren't the highest MMR. Like, let's check their net worth advantages. Mine is much higher this game, obviously. I think Abaddon and maybe Sniper were their best players. Well, Sniper kind of got gimped in lane by me a little bit, so it was a bit of an interesting match. But I don't know if the MMR is even. So maybe I'm talking about a viable item build in a game that should have been a stomp anyways because we were searching for games for a while. I'm not sure. Next up, I'm buying Plate Mill. I bought the Quicksilver Amulet because it was also going to increase my movement speed by a lot. You can tell right now I'm running at 489, which is really high, despite not having my ulti on. So I'm very quick right now. I suspect they have a ward or vision in this area. Saw the haste rune here. But I need armor because the Wraith King was building Deso. So if they have minus armor and you're playing, especially Int heroes, we'll need a little bit of armor to pick up. Otherwise you're going to be struggling a little. I felt worth going for this because our Ogre was right here. And very interested in diving. Use the Bloodstone here to heal. But effectively, I kind of felt like I could do anything that I wanted to in this moment. They can't stop me from running at them very well. They can stun me and stuff, but the amount of heal that I'm getting is really high. Oh, I don't know, Cellular Cool died. This stun felt really bad. I think I die there if not for the Glimmer Cape on Merlini. Especially with Ags being finished here. So scary stuff. I had 1 HP. I actually had 1 HP. I should have died there. That was really greedy. Very greedy. So, to finish, I'm going to walk to the bot lane and lifesteal off creeps. I don't really need to go back and heal with this build because of the fact that I get spell lifesteal on creeps and I have passive regen between Royal Jelly and stuff. But I backed briefly to buy something. Oh, that's right. I was going to buy a hood because I was still taking a lot of magic damage. And with Sniper having Ags finished, the magic damage is quite high. So hood definitely felt like the next item. Don't be afraid, by the way, if you're playing especially like int-based, tanky damage dealers who deal damage with their skills, don't be afraid to just buy a plate mail. You do not have to upgrade it right away. It is like super reasonable to just fit a plate mail into your itemization like this and swap out a null talisman or something, just so that your raw survivability against physical is a lot higher. So with pipe or hood now finished, I don't want to go full pipe because pipe is really expensive, hood is not. I just want to increase my survivability, put myself in a good spot, which I feel like I have reached. And then keep an eye on where my team is fighting. I probably should have looked better. I did not cover them very well in this moment. In fact, I would argue that they are literally fighting to the death and I'm just not watching. Or moving over until now. That was bad. I really wanted to kill Sniper, but he's wisely TPing away. See how much I'm lifestealing, actually? They actually just can't kill me. Like, the spell lifesteal is just so sick. Glyph very powerful here. I wanted to go damage it, though, so I ran under the tower. There's Bloodstone. Fortunately, my ulti ran out, but pulling the creep wave is pretty smart, generally. But we should be able to get the barracks. The extra movement speed here was actually quite nice. Took me a while to realize that it was my allies one, though. Alright, now we are bottling things. Alright, so what I started doing here, I think, was my first itemization mistake. I thought, like, hey, I'm in this shit a lot. Why don't I get even more spell life? Did I make Shiva's first? I think I made Shiva's first, actually. Shiva's is really good on Death Prophet, for sure. Because it gives you an AoE slow, which you don't have anymore. So, bought that. Then I was coming bottom to get some rune. I don't remember what it was. Oh, haste. Haste actually, like I said before, haste actually not that good on Death Prophet right now. Like, I'm already basically max movement speed using it. And with Quicksilver Amulet as well, like, this is 10 movement speed. 10% movement speed, like, I'm literally almost max all the time. I used haste, what, I get 70 movement speed out of this? It's okay. I'll never pass up a moment to push a creep wave, guys. It's just not me. I should have gone Sniper there, too. That was a mistake. Oh. Kind of ditched cap here. Missed my Crypt Swarm. This is unfortunate timing. But their right click was a little bit too extreme for me. I think I took mostly physical. I mean, if I have my ulti active there, I don't die. But I ran out of Spirit Siphons. And, yeah, basically just ran out of Spirit Siphons a bit, and I didn't have Exorcism going. And the Abaddon had pretty good damage with Radiance at this point. The Orb of Corrosion helped a lot, too. They just did a lot of damage, basically, and slowed me. And then got hit with enough stuns where I ran out. I wasted my last Spirit Siphon on some guy that ran away from me, kind of. So, like, the playstyle is definitely a little different, but it's still kind of similar. So what I decided to do at this point was I felt like I checked how much damage I had been taking from physical sources, and it was actually still pretty high physical in that fight. So I was like, all right, I need to get more armor. So I opted to buy the Shard. What the Shard does is it drains armor per second with Spirit Siphon and then gives it to me. And then that lasts for up to 14 seconds. So I thought, okay, I've already got good armor. Why not supplement my armor even farther with a Shard? I think in hindsight, what I probably should have done instead, I think the Shard was okay to buy, and I'm going to watch it closely here in the replay to see how effective it really was, but I think in reality what I should have bought here was Ags, because it would have given me more damage. I'm already casting my spells a lot, and on top of that, Let's see where I'm teleporting to. It would have also given me even more lifesteal sources. I didn't want to have to like run at Ogre there, but I was very surprised he was trying this. I really didn't need a Bloodstone here. Super unnecessary. But I was scared from after that last fight. That guy blinked in way too aggressively. Like, look at his damage items. He went Halberd after. I don't think that's... I mean, it's kind of nice against PA, but he doesn't have enough items that do something. I'm just going to heal up briefly. Here's another time would have been great to have Ags, just to do more damage to buildings, basically. Where's that Spirit Siphon? Watch my armor go up. It goes up by a tiny amount. Back to hitting buildings. So I don't know, the shard feels a little mediocre to me. But lowering armor on my opponents is good too. But I don't think it's giving more than like a few armor. I'm getting like 7 armor out of it or something, but so many force staffs. I kind of wanted him to fight me because I have my ulti active. I should have just hit the buildings. But little too much damage. I noticed I was having mana problems there too. At least one of the barracks with my ulti, but was trying to be cheeky and do cheeky stuff. So I thought, alright, the reason I'm dying is because I don't have enough spell lifesteal. So I was like, let's buy more. So then I decided to upgrade into Eternal Shroud, which on paper is also a very good Death Prophet item. And you might think like, hey, why would I buy Bloodstone when I could buy Eternal Shroud? And that's not a terrible idea, I think, if you do need a hood. But the problem with Eternal Shroud is it doesn't give you any raw HP. And it doesn't really give you that much mana regen either. Obviously, you can use the Shroud to get mana regen back occasionally, but primarily it... I think it's not quite perfect on Death Prophet. But maybe, I don't know, who knows, maybe it will be the better item. Or maybe people will just buy Voodoo Mask on the hero or something like that to get a bit of the lifesteal. Another thing that the opponents are really missing, none of them were building Spirit Vessel. If they built Spirit Vessel against me, it would have undermined my regen a lot, but nobody built one, which is really weird. Because it's not like I had BKB. I guess I have Dispel from Omni Knight or whatever, but I don't have a Yule's. So it's not that hard for them to kill me, realistically. That's kind of scary. So that's why I started thinking, I'll just get Eternal Shroud next. I don't know why I'm waiting so long to TP. Oh, then I bought this because I was going to buy Eternal Shroud at this point, so it's like, hey, I'll just take 10% more spell amp or spell lifesteal right now. It's very simple to kill. A little HP here. Should just be going Balrax with this. Oh, that was a bad Crypt Swarm. Oh yeah, I also got the Crypt Storm cooldown. This is very atypical according to past Death Prophet because raw HP is so important. Why haven't I not ulted yet, guys? What's going on? I finally have done it. Finish my Eternal Shroud now. Same magic resistance, a little bit more spell lifesteal. Can get some mana. Kind of wasted the rest of my ulti here, but a little Shiva action to get some slow going. Really wish I used. Okay, there it is. Time for me to run. I'm gonna go run a different way. Definitely kind of scared here. Yep, still scared. Messed up. Alright, and at this point I was like, I'm having a lot of trouble forcing people to stay where they are and slowing them. So I was like, why did I buy Eternal Shroud? I don't need spell lifesteal right now anymore. I've already got plenty. The issue is more like I'm strong when my ulti's up, but I'm still having some slow issues. Like, you could make arguments here for why Atos could be good on Death Prophet, for example. But I think the Eternal Shroud was a bad upgrade. I shouldn't have done this. It's just overkill for how much spell lifesteal I have. It's like the lifesteal is really high, but then when I'm out of cooldowns or mana or my ulti, then all the spell lifesteal in the world doesn't matter because I'm not very effective. I kind of wanted to have Cloak of Flames here because it kind of covers what my hero already does, which is stand near people and it gives you resistance. But Cap wanted it, which is understandable as well. If you're playing Omni Knight, you don't farm very rapidly outside of Purification, so having some AoE damage is completely reasonable. I don't know what he's doing. So what I should have bought instead was started working on Ags, because if I have Ags finished, every time I attack, it would slow them, deal a little damage, and give me lots of lifesteal, because again, it's amplified. And that would have been a lot more effective for myself getting kills and for my team getting kills than what I went for. But we have a 2x advantage. I should probably be saving for a buyback this whole time. I didn't, but it's okay. Because we have a pretty good advantage, and we're not giving them much of a chance to push out across the map. Oh yeah, the Crypt Storm cooldown, I forgot to talk about this more. Got a little intimidated here. Probably shouldn't have gone so hard on this guy. I like really wanted to go on these guys, but it was also a little scary. Used all my Spirit Siphons here, which was not good. Decided to TP top. So if you don't have Bloodstone, getting the Crypt Storm cooldown is usually kind of bad because your mana regen is just not really high enough to spam this ability all the time. But because I have Bloodstone, it's pretty viable to do, and it really helps you just farm a little bit faster in the ultra late game. I wasn't sure I wanted to use Minotaur Horn at first. I should have probably just swapped it in right away because Quickening Charm is quite good on my hero. Static Stormcraft actually would have been really good on me. I would have liked that a lot. Just here to break his ulti and ditch my ally. He did wall though, so to run all the way around this crap. That's a big kill. Everybody just running away from me once again. Way more spell life still than I could ever need. I guess having these recharges a little better with Quickening Charm. Maybe they changed the cooldown on Spirit Siphon or something. Maybe they made it better because they nerfed the skill. I can't remember. 25 talents. I opted for Exorcism Spirits. That increases your ulti damage by another 25% basically. I opted for it because the other talent looked really good. Spirit Siphon Replenish Time I think would be really solid in most games. And it is good because I have the Aghanim's Shard for Spirit Siphon. I can effectively cast Spirit Siphon like all the time. I don't need Aegis either because Cheese is going to be completely fine to me. Outside of, unless they use like a, whatever it's called, Spirit Vessel on me, which they didn't. They definitely should have. But, but yeah, Cheese excellent on my character. My movement speed is so fast. But, I don't know, if they're, I mean, they have a lot of melee heroes, I guess, but I just felt like more damage from Exorcism was going to be more effective than lower cooldown Spirit Siphon. I'm not that concerned about physical damage, so... Got a lot of value out of Shivas here. At this point, it kind of felt like we'd lost the fight, so I was going to back up and hit buildings like I should have the whole time. I thought I picked up Ags as well, but I didn't get close enough to the buildings. It was a bummer. I actually can't believe the Cap is still alive. Alright, there's my Ags. He looks very dead. I don't want his slow to affect me momentarily. Oh, I should have used Bloodstone earlier. Should have used it right before I got stunned, but I didn't. Okay, so all things considered, wish I had Eggs earlier. More raw HP, more heal. Every time I cast a spell, it shoots out a spear, which does 60 damage, and you know, I get a little heal from that. For a bonus, it's usual damage. How much? It says 50. Well, I mean, I guess Crypt Swarm is doing more damage because of the spirit, but it doesn't do bonus damage. It does 50% of a normal spirit damage. So it's actually not that much. It's more the slow that ends up being pretty effective from Eggs. Because it's a 0.3 second slow. Every time I use Silence, every time I start a new Spirit Siphon, it's going to slow people a little bit. That's really the big benefit here. This is where I was asking for Spell Prism. It's a perfect item on Death Prophet. Lower her ulti cooldowns. Mana regen is great because I sometimes am getting drained a lot. And attributes as well. Really, really good on my hero. Still don't have a BKB, of course. But it's okay. Petting my dog. Telescope would have been pretty good on me too. Killed Sniper. I didn't even see. Could also upgrade my BOTs, but it's a little bit of a waste. Miss my... Miss some of my slows. So, could go push out top, but it's just easier just to go through mid, take out the high ground, or take out the last racks to get our Mega Creeps. Generally felt good about my itemization. Again, they would have had a really effective counter against me if they'd actually bought Spirit Vessel. That would have forced me to get like a BKB or a Yules or something like that. So otherwise it just does way too much anti-healing probably. Like, I don't know, if they had one in the mid game, some of those times where it was kind of close, it probably would have really mattered. But at this point in the game, maybe not so much because I am so deep into my items. Just over here trying to steal as much armor as possible from this guy. Yeah, they went left or right. And he went left. So, that is my case for Bloodstone Death Prophet. I'm definitely going to try it out more. I got the idea last night after watching some Dota TV games. Somebody didn't build it, but somebody built Bloodstone. I looked down and I was like, spell lifesteal. Death Prophet, of course! And it finally made sense. So, going to try out more Bloodstone builds on Death Prophet type heroes, Death Prophet, Leshrac, stuff like that. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.